I'm going to talk about today is how to get started in self-storage. All right. There's a 3-step process in investing in self-storage. There's finding them, funding them, and running them. All right. That's my 3-step process: finding them, funding them, and running. Today, we're going to talk about finding them, right? Because unless somebody, does anybody here own a self-storage? I don't think let me know if you own a self-storage. So we got some Kentucky, we've got North Carolina, Georgia, Michigan. Okay, good. Let me know where you're at so I can tailor the conversation to like what your area is like for storage, for self-storage. Okay, so we've been investing in self-storage for about 5 years now. We own 7. We're closing on our 8th one in the next couple of weeks. We have another one under contract that we're going to close in March. So our goal for this year is 1 a month. We're to that point now where 1 a month for us is easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right. So basically the way self-storage works is your first one, you get one. And I tell my students, like, 1 in the first year is your goal. Like, I'll be like, I want to buy 4 self-storage facilities. And it's like, it just doesn't work out that way. Okay. So your goal is to find 1 storage, because the way that it works, all right, is the finding, funding, and running principle. Okay. It's going to take you, if you know how to look for self-storage, it's going to take you several months to find a storage facility. This is not like, mail out some letters and find a house. This is commercial real estate. This is not residential. This is commercial real estate. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk today about the first step, which is finding them. Now, as an overall process, you're going to learn how to find storage. And then what you have to learn is you have to learn how to run deal analysis, right? Commercial deal analysis. All right, in order to decide whether or not it's a good deal. And then once you figure out whether or not it's a good deal, you make an offer. When you make an offer, you don't just make one offer, you make several offers, one based on cash and the others based on getting the deal financed by the owner. Okay. And then after you make your offer and they say yes, you have to fund it. You have to find the funding. Okay, and then after you find the funding, you've got to run the sucker. And so finding them is going to take a couple of months. Running, putting an offer and closing on the property is going to take a couple months. All right. And then after 6 or 8 months of looking for a property and trying to close on it, and commercial real estate takes a long time to close. Like even I pay cash for my facilities and they're still taking 60 days to close. All right. It's just like, it just takes a long time to close commercial real estate. If anybody knows what I mean, say, I understand commercial real estate. Does anybody do any commercial real estate right now? And it just takes at least a month just to run title on a commercial real estate deal right now. It just takes a month with COVID and everything. And then you still gotta like close on it. I mean, it just takes a long time. Okay. All right. So we're going to look first. The first thing I want to talk about is the 5 ways that you can invest in self-storage. The 5 ways. Okay. So I'll write these down for y'all. This is under the, my 3-step process. Find them. Right. Fund them. Run them. Okay. This is my 3-step process. We're going to do the 5 different ways, the 5 ways you can invest in self-storage. You've got to know this first, right? So you know what kind of a deal you're going to want to look for too as well. 5 ways to invest. Number 1, one of my favorite ways is to wholesale. You can wholesale self-storage. You can wholesale any property. So everybody here that says, remind me, who wants to learn how to wholesale? Put it in here that you want your goal is to learn how to wholesale. Everybody's goal, honestly, should be to know how to wholesale, because wholesaling is essentially the foundation of investing in real estate. All right. And the thing is that when you learn how to wholesale, the truth of the matter is you can wholesale any type of property out there, any property. It doesn't matter. You can wholesale land. You can wholesale, you know, residential, commercial, storage, retail, residential. I mean, just you name it, you can wholesale it, right? So my suggestion to you is to learn how to wholesale. But the thing is that if you focus on wholesaling commercial property, right, learning how to wholesale commercial property, which essentially all that really means is not only learning how to wholesale, which wholesale is just easy, it's easy anyways. It's really learning how to run commercial deal analysis. All right. So if you want to get into storage, this is really the key is the commercial deal analysis. Okay. If you can't run numbers and if you don't know if it's a good deal or not, well, then you ain't ever going to get any deals. All right. So you have to learn how to run commercial deal analysis. Okay. So wholesaling is, I love to wholesale storage facilities because you can make a lot of money. So residential, you're like, I'm happy if I'm making 5 or 10 grand. Every once in a while, you'll get like, you know, something that comes across your plate that's like 20 grand, right? Most of the time. In commercial real estate, you're starting at 25 plus. Right? I've got students, I just wholesaled a storage facility and made 65 grand on it. You can wholesale commercial and make $100,000 easy, but it just takes a little bit longer to do that. Okay. So definitely if you want to learn how to wholesale, you might as well learn how to do commercial wholesaling. And so that way you can make more money, right? That's my personal opinion. Number one. Number two, the second way is income producing properties. Income producing properties. Okay. Income producing. 5 ways to invest. The second one is income producing. So these are the type of properties, right, where you start getting out there and learning about storage and start looking for storage facilities. These are ones that can provide a P&L, a balance sheet, rent roll, tax returns. The owners are like, this is the ones that they're like 75% plus full or 70, you know, to 80% plus full. They're run properly, right? So the owners are like, I mean, when you ask them, like, you know, are you full or not full? And they say, yeah, we're like full. And it's like, okay, great. Can you provide a P&L and a balance sheet? Can you provide a rent roll so I can see that? And they're just like, hell yeah, I can do that because they're so proud, right? They're so proud. They've basically what they've done is they've created this profitable business, right? So they always want to show you their P&L and their balance sheet when they're running that property properly, right? So when you talk to owners, essentially you're going to be talking to them and asking them, what is your vacancy rate? Are you full or not full? And if they're full, they're going to tell you because they want top dollar. That's the thing with income producing is that most, okay, for those, because I mean, they're running a good, viable business. All right. Then the other way that you can, invest in real estate is my favorite way, which is mismanaged facilities. Mismanaged. So I just closed on one. We just closed on one a couple of weeks ago, and this one is just like the owner was 85 years old. And he just is like, he's had that thing for 40 years. And he's just like, I'm over it. And like, he's been over it for 10 years. And he said it was 50% full. When we bought the thing, it's like 20% full. You know, he has no P&L, no balance sheet, no numbers, nothing. In fact, we asked him, how much money are you making every month? He said, I have no idea. And I said, well, can you show anything? He said, I said, you're going to have to at least give me a list of everybody that's there. You know, like I need tenant information. He's like, you're going to make me work, aren't you? That's basically what he said. You're going to make me work, aren't you, to sell this thing? And I was like, I at least need a map of the facility and a list of the contacts with their phone numbers on it. Can you do that? And of course, then after we closed, we called everybody. Guess what? Half of those phone numbers don't even work. So we have to skip trace and try to figure out where the owners are and do auctions and all kinds of stuff. That is what I call a mismanaged facility, right? The owners cannot provide any information at all. They're usually 75% less or less to, or full, not full. Okay, so like vacant, 75% vacant. Okay. Now, the difference between these two is that the income producing property, you can go to a bank and get a loan. And in fact, right now, go to a bank and go to a local bank or get an SBA loan, and you just get like the best rates ever, badass rates. Right? I have a student that's like got 4% on a 20-year loan. Now, with income producing properties, you have to have money to put down. You have to have money to put down. Okay, unless you get the owner to owner finance it to you, which is possible. Ask them, would you like to be my bank? You know, how about we just work out a deal? Now, most of the time, they're going to want a little money down too, as well. So most likely you'll have a little bit of money, but sometimes they don't want any money down. I got properties all the time, they don't want any money down. So income producing properties, if you don't have any money, ask the owner if they'll be the bank. But if you do have money, you can get really, really good interest rates right now on loans. And banks love storage facilities. Well, I say banks love income producing storage facilities. They will not lend to you on a mismanaged facility, right? They will not lend to you on a mismanaged facility. So where do, if a bank cannot lend to you, where do you get the money from? Put in the chat. If a bank cannot lend to you on a mismanaged property, where do you get the money from? Okay. You have to ask a private money lender or a hard money lender. But hard money lenders will lend on these types of deals. And you know, some of them will, but you have to put a lot of money down. Like you have to put like 30 to 40% down with a hard money lender. Just say, look, if you lend me the money, I'll put 40% down, right? And then a hard money lender will lend it. But if they don't, then you're going to have to use a private money lender, right? So private money lenders, we've all heard this term before. Essentially, it's like a neighbor. It's a colleague, it's your fraternity brother and sorority sisters, it's your workmates. Those are private lenders, right? My very first private lender was my neighbor. I just happened to be like, I'm going to start doing some stuff in real estate investing. And he was like, hey, I got some money. Maybe I should lend it to you. And I was like, what? Like all I did was just talk to my neighbor about what I was doing. And then they offered to lend me money. Right? So private lenders are going to be your friends and family and colleagues and things like this, okay? The only way you can get these types of properties is with private lenders, okay? Now, but the best thing about these is that you can double the value, right? When you buy, that's why I like mismanaged properties. Income producing properties, they're like businesses. All right, there's maybe some value add and like increasing the rates. Maybe there's some land and you can build like some more units on the back end, but there's not as much value add in an income producing property compared to a mismanaged property. So mismanaged is like you're buying it at 25 to 50 cents on the dollar, and you're going to make that property a profitable business by, running it properly is what you're going to be doing. Okay. So that is the two. And the thing that you can do, and this is what I do, is actually I balance these two out. Okay. So, like for instance, I just closed on the property in Valdosta. And I'm going to have to come out of pocket about $2,000 every single month in order to get that up and running, right? I'm gonna have to come out of pocket because it is not making any money and I have to pay my mortgage to my lenders. Now, my lenders are nice because my lenders push that first payment out in 90 days. So when I talk to my lenders, they look, would you lend me $300,000 and I'll just pay you in the first 90 days? And they don't care. They're like, sure. Yeah. They just put it on the back end. Okay. But so, so I have 90 days that I don't have to pay out of pocket, but after 90 days, I have to come out of pocket every single month to manage a mismanaged facility. All right. Now, what I can do is I can go out and I can find an income producing property to offset that money. So that's what we did. I went out, I was like, crap, I'm gonna have to pay $2,000 a month. Let me go find a property that's making that's netting $2,000 a month. And then I just make no money, right? But I'm increasing the value add. And then, after a couple of years, I've doubled the price of my facilities, or maybe if not doubled, almost doubled. All right, so that's kind of how I look at it, is I balance these two out. So usually if I find a mismanaged property, I buy an income producing property. Okay, so these are the first three. The number 4, this is one of the most popular ways that you're going to start seeing now, new construction. New construction, okay? So when you, if you have land, or if you know how to buy land, you're like, look, I have these land. I've been thinking about putting a storage facility on there. I'm going to tell you that land and storage go kind of hand in hand, right? New construction, it doesn't matter if it's residential or commercial, over the course of the next couple of years is going to be hot. Why? Why would you think that new construction is going to be super hot? It's so funny because when I came in 10 years ago, there was no new construction going on. And then it took a while to get new construction started, and also commercial. It took a while for commercial. Now, if you go anywhere, there's new construction, right? It's all over the place because new construction is so cheap right now. And land is so cheap and stuff. So you're going to see a lot of new construction, number 1. And then number 2, there's a serious affordable housing crisis in the country, right? So there's going to be a lot of builders out there building property, commercial development, and then also storage development. And the truth of the matter is there is not enough storage facilities in the world. I get this question all the time. Is there too much competition? All right. Is there too much competition? All right. So the way that you look at competition is through cap rate. Who knows what cap rate is? If you know what cap rate is, put it into the what is it called? Chat. Okay. So in the commercial real estate world, you have to understand cap rate, because in the storage world, especially in storage, they're always asking, what's your cap rate? What they always ask, this is a question. You want to be a storage nerd? This is what you ask. This is what you say. You say, what's your cap rate on that facility? Or you say, what's the total amount of square footage on that? What's your total square footage? So in the self-storage investing world, all you're talking about is total square footage and cap rate. So if you want to be a storage nerd, just be like, what's your total square footage on that? Yeah? Or how much total square footage do you got? And that's how we talk in the self-storage world. All right? So now we're going to look at cap rate and what it is. I saw interest earned on the money. Okay, so let me just kind of show you so that you guys know what cap rate is. Okay, so this is what your cap rates look like. This is your chart, a cap rate chart. Okay, this is the city, right? Let's say Orlando. Okay, because it has an O, so I'll just say Orlando, right? And your cap rate in Orlando is going to be 5 to 7%. That's like a typical cap rate that if you go to look at facilities or look anything, even multifamily, actually multifamily is like 5 to 7% anywhere. We'll get into that. But if you are looking at like a metro area of a city, then you're going to look at cap rate. And the cap rate inside, for instance, Orlando or Nashville or Atlanta, people are buying, or we're buying, investors are buying at 5 to 7% cap rate. This is called your primary. This is like a primary market, right? So you see like Cube Smarts and what are they called? U-Hauls and public storages and all that. They are happy when they get a 7% cap rate. They're like super happy. All right. Okay. Now this here, and they're all in the city areas. And as you go further out of the city, of course, you don't see like public storage and U-Hauls, right? You get the mom and pop shops, right? So here in the secondary market, this is your secondary market. This is where you're going to get like 8 to 9% cap rates. Okay. Now, this all depends on where you live. Like, let's just say this is Valdosta, like the downtown of Valdosta. Valdosta is not a primary market. Valdosta would be considered maybe a secondary market, right? So your cap rates in Valdosta would start at like 8%. I mean, there's not like a 7% cap rate in Valdosta. I mean, that the town only has like 70 or 80,000 people in it, and there's nothing around it, right? And that nothing around that country, that's called the tertiary market. All right. And tertiary market is like a 10 plus cap, 10 plus. Okay. So when you talk about commercial real estate or storage facilities or even multifamily, they're going to ask you, is it a primary, secondary, or tertiary market? All right. So somebody posted out yesterday and they said, I want to buy multifamily, a $500,000, 10 door multifamily in Atlanta. And I posted out, there's no such thing. All right. There's no 500,000 door in Atlanta, right? You're million plus in Atlanta. And this is a 5 to 7% cap rate, meaning that you're a million storage facilities, anything is a million plus. There's no 10 caps. 10 cap is the cheaper, right? So if you ain't got no money, you should be looking in the tertiary markets, wherever you're at. So for instance, if I'm from Augusta, Georgia, so Augusta would be like maybe a primary, but very little primary, mostly secondary to tertiary. So I wouldn't stay like in the downtown centers of Augusta, but the burbs of Augusta would be just fine. And all the outside area of Augusta is just fine, right? So if you're in Nashville, right, any of the burbs of Nashville is going to be a primary market. So you're going to have to go outside to even get a secondary market. And then even further into the middle of nowhere in Nashville, in Tennessee, to get to the tertiary markets. So when you talk about cap rate, when you talk about markets in the commercial side, especially self-storage, so you're going to be looking, this is kind of how you see your markets. Because a lot of people ask, like, what's the cap rate of your market? That's what they're going to ask you. Right? So this is like a 1 million plus, right? 5 to 7% cap rates. If you are in a tertiary market and the facility that you're looking for is at like cap rate, then whoever listed that or is selling that has no idea how to run deal analysis on a storage facility. So I like to buy at 10 plus cap rates, double-digit cap rates. I buy everything I bought is double-digit cap rates, and most of my stuff is 15 plus cap rate, right? So I'm in the tertiary markets, right? That's where I'm at, right? Because that's what I can afford. Right. So, I mean, I can't afford $1 million plus. I mean, that's like the big boys. Right. So depending on where you're at. So for instance, tell me right now, what city are you in? Right. And are you in a secondary or a primary, secondary, or tertiary market? Put it in the chat so we have an idea of kind of where everybody's at. And then we can know where everybody should be looking at. Right. So if you are in, for instance, I think I saw Detroit, like Detroit is going to be a primary market. It's too expensive for most of us, unless you got millions of dollars. If you got millions of dollars, tell me. Right. But yeah, so where are you at? So Alpharetta, definitely a primary market. Atlanta is a primary market. Exactly. Right. Hampton would be considered a secondary market. Hampton would be a secondary market. Right. So I'm saying, so if you happen to live in a tertiary, I live in a tertiary market in the middle of nowhere, Georgia is where we live, right? So, I look kind of secondary, tertiary, I guess is what it is. It's more like vacation homes, but so then you know how much you should be paying, right? That's number one. So I just want to give you an idea of markets and cap rates, right, for storage facilities. So now when you start looking for a storage facility, you ask yourself, what can you afford? So secondary markets will be like $1 million. This is like $1 million plus. This is like $1 million less, maybe. All right, and tertiary is like, maybe 500,000 or less or something like this, or like, it depends on where it's at, but you can have $1 million properties, but most of the time it's like cheap properties here. So this is a good first time buyer market for storage facilities, tertiary markets, especially right now, because there's a lot of people that want to get in self-storage, especially hedge funds, and especially like hotels that are going under and they have all this money. Guess what? They're going to be like spending it in self-storage. You know what I'm saying? So like we see this and we talk about this. So I said, if you have money, and I'm sure there are people on this meeting that have money, highly recommend looking at new construction if you have the stomach for it. Takes a little while to do that. But new construction, right? New construction, you can make 3 times the amount of money of what you put in. So I just talked to one of my students that's building a facility, and they borrowed $500,000. They cleared a piece of land that's like, I think 5 acres. They bought like 5 acres, cleared it, built a storage facility that's about 125 units. So all in to build it, clear, permits. It took them a couple of years to do that. So remember that it takes a couple of years to do that. But they got it appraised. Now it's done and it's about 25% full. They got it appraised at $1.5 million. Okay, so when it gets to be at 90% full, that thing is going to be worth $1.5 million. So they put in $500,000 to make $1 million, right? Which is an amazing return on your money, right? So if you can afford to do that, now remember, they borrowed $500,000. They had to put 20% down, right? So if you've got that much money to put down, right, then you can build new construction, right? And try to figure out how to do that. Okay, Tanya says, why 2 years? What does that include? It just, honestly, that's the permitting process and working with the city, the counties or whatever they're at. And sometimes it goes quicker than that, and sometimes it just takes forever. That county that they were working with just happened to just take forever. And it was right during COVID, and it's just like everything got all screwed up and stuff too. So, but new construction takes time. It takes a lot of time. Okay, so you just have to have the patience to do that. So you just know that, like, and now think about it. It took them a couple of years to buy that thing, right? So to clear it and to build it, and now they're getting it full, and it's going to take them another year to get that full. So they're all in, like, at least 3 years right now. And on top of that, they won't be able to refi out or sell or anything like that until they could sell, but they wouldn't get top dollar for it until they are turning a profit. And it takes a couple of years to turn a profit. All right. So essentially, like, this is a 5-year process for them to make $1 million. All right. So you got to be all in and understand that concept of doing new construction. But if you can do new construction, I'm telling you, you can make some serious cash. All right. Serious cash. You just have to be patient and just go with the flow. Okay. And we're also looking into new construction as well too. Come on, 500,000 and you make $1 million. So, okay. All right. Now what else? We got income. And then the last one is conversions. Okay. Conversions. And conversions is essentially, this, like, it's going to be like, the Best Buys that are all going out of business, and all these retail shops, and then now, like, you see the storage facilities in them, right? That is what I'm talking about, conversion. So you have to have money to do this. It's actually really not that expensive. Let's say you find a building that you want to buy and you want to convert it, and the building is probably going to cost you, let's say, $1 million. All right, and then you have to come in and put all, and you have to like convert it and do all this stuff, which really isn't that expensive. It's about $25 a square foot. And then after that you have this like totally awesome storage facility. I have a really, really good friend that this is what he does. He does conversions. He develops and does conversions, and it's a little bit of a process, but what he does is he raises money. He raises money, and he's very good at raising money. So he'll raise like $3 million to do stuff like this. So he doesn't put a dime of his own money in. He just borrows it from other people, raises it, and then he goes out and buys buildings and converts them, which is totally doable as well too. Okay. So these are the 5 ways of investing in self-storage. Now, depending on the truth of the matter is that when you get out there and start looking for storage, you have no idea what you're going to come across. Now, you cannot find a storage facility online. So if you're going to the MLS, Crexy, LoopNet, all these looking online for a storage facility, it just ain't going to work, right? Because all these hedge funds, all these players are all looking online. The best way for you to find self-storage and to buy self-storage and to invest in it is to talk to the seller directly. Talk to the seller directly, okay? And now when you start really looking for self-storage and getting out there and looking for self-storage, you have no idea what kind of a deal you're going to come across. It could be an income producing property or a mismanaged property. You could find some land, like you just have no idea, right? Especially if you start doing what I do, which is drive for storage. You have no idea what kind of a facility that you're going to come across. So the truth of the matter is that you have to know what your parameters are. The first question that you ask yourself is, do I have any money? Right? Do I have any money? Right? If you have no money, well, then you're going to have to either, number one, get out of the race because everybody got money. Number two, you have to learn how to do creative deal structuring, right? And number three, you have to learn how to do creative deal structuring. Or number three, you have to find private lenders. You've got to find private lenders. So those are, if you have no money right now and you're like, I want to get into self-storage, how do I do that? Or number four, you can wholesale. If you have no money, all you need is gas money in order to wholesale. Wholesaling commercial is like totally opposite of wholesaling residential. You don't have to put any money into your marketing budget to wholesale self-storage. All you need is gas money and time. Okay. So if you've got no money right now, you should be wholesaling self-storage, looking for private lenders, figuring out what creative deal structuring is, and truly learning how to do creative deal structuring, which is making the owner the bank and understanding that concept. Or what was the other one? Or get out of the rat race. Those are your 4 options. All right. Because there's a lot of competition out there. Okay. Now, so let's get into finding storage. Finding them. So now you have an idea, and I'm telling you, you have no idea what you're going to come across, right? I say get out there and look, right? And if you come across something, you're just like, oh my gosh, I can't afford this, or I don't want this, then all you have to do is wholesale. That's it, just wholesale. Okay. All right. We talked about cap rate a little bit. We talked about markets. Now we're going to get into finding, all right? Finding self-storage. Who's still in with me? Who here is like, yeah, I still want to do some storage. Stacy hasn't scared me off yet. All right, I want to know. Who's still with me? Okay, good. Okay, one person is Dion. I scared everybody else off. Linda's here. Good. Laurie's in. Awesome. Good. I love it. Okay, so now I had there was a question up here. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss it. Is there a big difference between indoor condition versus drive up? No. Yes, there's a huge difference. It's price. You're going to charge we have the storage facility that we just bought in Valdosta. It's like there's no air conditioning, right? So we charge for a 10 by 10, we charge $60 a month. All right. And then right across the street is this beautiful big storage facility, 400 units. We have 125 or something. It's 400 units, and it's all air conditioned. And so their 10 by 10 is $160 a month, $100 more a month. All right. Now, do you make money on that? That's the question. Like we were looking at one storage facility where the guy had all like air conditioning and heating, right? And then he was just like, after he did it for a couple of years, he's like, I was like actually losing money, so I just turned all that off. So the question is like, do you actually make money on it? You have to look at the numbers and see if they're really truly making money on the heating and the air. Now, in some areas, like if you're in the Northeast and stuff, you have to do that, right? You have to, if you're in the cold areas, you have to heat. We were up in Maine for a couple of months over the holidays and driving around, and some of them were heated and some of them were not heated, which was very interesting because they have very cold winters. So you just kind of have to know your market and look at your market. And then you have to look at when you start learning how to analyze the deal, what is the average price per square foot for your competition, right? Your competition and what they charge is key to your deal analysis. So you have to learn how to do average price per square foot for your storage facilities, okay? Okay, all right. Let's see, finding them. So now the best way, I've already told you, the best way to find storage facilities is driving for storage, okay? Driving for storage. And this is my hashtag. So if you get out there and start driving for storage, you should find me on social media and tag it and tag me. Hashtag driving for storage. Okay. And you can go to my YouTube page and I have a whole section on there that's like called hashtag driving for storage. It's me going to facilities and walking around facilities, right? So you can watch my videos on that. Okay. And so hashtag driving for storage. So what that means is that you have to find storage facilities that are what I call the hidden markets. Hidden markets, okay? The hidden market. Okay? So if you go to Google Maps and type in where you're at for storage facilities or self-storage or whatever, right? And then you go and it's going to pop up all the storage facilities in your area. Okay? Now, the ones that are on Google Maps, 80% of the time are not the ones that you want to buy, right? Has anybody ever put a business on Google Maps? Has anybody ever tried to put a business, like do you have your business on Google Maps? It is actually very difficult. And I'm going to tell you, the owners of the storage facilities that are in tertiary markets, they are not getting on a computer and putting their facility on Google Maps. Okay? So we picked up one that we're closing on in a couple of weeks, and guess what? The owner doesn't even own a computer. Doesn't even own a computer. Right? So I can tell you that one that we found was a hidden market. It is not on Google Maps. And the only way that you can find those is if you drive for storage. Okay? That is how you find the best deals, because then you go to that owner and you call them. And actually, sometimes these don't even have phone numbers or anything, so you have to skip trace. But essentially, most of the time for a storage facility, guess what? The phone number's right on the sign. You don't even have to skip trace those suckers. Okay? This one had no sign. It had nothing. It was pretty much almost completely abandoned. And basically he said, we called and talked to the owner, and he has also no idea about how much money he's making. And he thinks he's making $1,000 a month. He's an older guy, and he's like sick, so he's not into it. It's a dumpy old storage facility, right? And we found that one, guess what? Just driving around, not on Google Maps. So my suggestion to you is that you go to Google Maps and you type in self-storage or type in storage or maybe type in like mini warehouses or warehouses, kind of like switch it up a little bit so you can see. And then any storage facilities that you find, you can click on them and open them up and look at them. And if they're like huge, beautiful, nice storage facilities, these are not like the ones that you should be looking at. But the ones that are kind of ugly, or they don't have a phone number, or they don't have a website, right? No phone numbers, no websites. That's kind of it's not like a lot of like owners I've noticed, like they'll like, I need to figure out how to get onto the Google Maps, and then they'll like somehow they'll figure it out, but they don't know how to like finish it out, right? Because you have to like create this whole profile on the background and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, and you notice this when you go onto Google Maps, right? And you're like, pizza place near me, right? And then you open up pizza place near me, and it's like you open it up and there's like no phone number or website. And you're just like, what? Like where, who, what, huh? Right? That's the same thing for the storage facility. So that's kind of a clue. That would be like, there's different levels of like storage facilities that you should be contacting, right? So no phone number, no website. Okay. That would be like, in the levels, that would be kind of like on Google Maps. This would be like, one of the levels. Like, okay, yeah, I'll contact them. And then what you want to do is map out from there, like these types of facilities, like this, like, okay, this is a smaller one. This looks like one that's kind of more my budget or whatever. And then you drive over to look at those. And I can guarantee you that within a 5-mile radius, there is something there that is not on Google Maps. Okay, and those are called the hidden market. Those are the ones that you want to be contacting the owner. Now, if you call a storage facility and they have an office manager, most of the time, like, don't talk to the office manager, because what's the office manager going to say? If you call them up and say, hey, I'm Stacy, and I was just wondering, do you think the owner's interested in selling? I'd like to talk to the owner about buying their storage facility. What do you think the office manager is going to say when you talk to them on the phone? All right, they're going to be like, no way. I think I've talked to like hundreds of office managers over the course of the last couple of years, and like maybe 5 of them are like, you know what, they may be interested in selling. Let me leave them a message and have them call you. Like, no, nobody does this, okay? So you want to talk to the owner directly. You have to talk to the owner directly, okay? So you want to find the hidden markets, and then you want to talk to owner directly. Okay? All right, so that is how I find my every storage facility except for my very first one is how I found these storage facilities. And in fact, every single storage facility that I bought, I'm getting at least 50 cents on the dollar, if not more. I mean, I'm getting like 25 cents on the dollar, right? And the reason why is because, God love realtors. We all love realtors. We love commercial brokers. We love them as much as we can, right? But the truth of the matter is that 80% of all commercial brokers, 80% of all commercial realtors have no idea how to run commercial deal analysis on a storage facility. And the way that you run commercial deal analysis on a storage facility is through square footage and cap rate. You run it like a warehouse. Storage facilities are considered warehouses, okay? And most of the time, a commercial realtor and a commercial broker, is there any commercial realtors or brokers on here? Commercial realtors and commercial brokers are running the numbers like multifamily. And multifamily is a 5 to 7% cap rate anywhere pretty much now, because there's too much competition. And I tell when I have a student that came and they were like, look for 2 years, look for a multifamily, and couldn't find anything. And then like got into my coaching program like 1 month, essentially had a storage facility under contract. And the reason why is because he had so much competition in that multifamily that it's hard to get a deal. And the truth of the matter is that he was looking at 5 to 7% cap rates, and I buy double-digit cap rates. So you want to buy as high as you possibly can. You buy a cap rate as high as you possibly can and sell it for as low as you possibly can. Okay? So cap rate. You buy high and sell low. Buy high, sell low. Right? So if you're in a tertiary market and you're buying it at 10%, well, maybe in a couple of years you can sell it at like a 9 cap, or you want to have some sort of a value add where you're increasing that cap rate to like a 12 or a 13 or a 14% cap rate. So you want to make sure that if you're buying at a 5 to 7% cap rate, in a couple of years you're selling it at a 7 to 8 or 9% cap rate, right? You want to be like a couple percentage points higher at least, right? And then in the secondary market, right, if you're buying it at an 8 to 9% cap rate, your value add should be on the back end at like 13 plus. You know what I'm saying? So if you're buying in a secondary market, you're looking at what you can increase that value add. So your job is to increase that value add per cap rate, per percentage point. And then you get it to like 13% cap rate, and then you sell it back again to the cap rate that it should be at, right? The market value cap rate. Okay, so for instance, like I'm buying in secondary and tertiary markets, like I'll buy a secondary property at a 10 plus cap rate, right? So I'm already above, and so I'll say like, okay, I bought this at a 13% cap rate. I'm going to increase the value to 16 or 17% cap rate, and then I'm going to sell it at an 8% cap rate. And that is how you make your money in self-storage investing. And that's how you make your money on the commercial side. So you have to truly understand commercial deal analysis and cap rate and running numbers, right? Which is not like, you can't learn this in a 45-minute session, right? So that's what I say. If you're truly interested in self-storage investing, I've given you the first step. The easiest way. This only takes time and gas money, right? The easiest way is to do this, okay? And then after you do that, then you say, okay, I need to learn how to run commercial deal analysis so I can learn how to really truly look at these deals and see if if it's a good deal or not, okay? Now, are there other ways in finding self-storage? Yeah. Yeah, you can buy lists and mail out to storage facility owners. You can go onto Crexi and LoopNet and MLS and do all that. But the truth of the matter is I'm telling you that there are too many hands in the pot right now. Too many hands in the pot everywhere. And it's going to get worse, right? As the market goes down, the smarter investors are getting in and doing more right now. Right? So more competition when the market goes down. All right. So what is the best way for you to find self-storage is driving for storage, finding those hidden markets and getting out there and putting yourself in front of the storage facility owner so that you can make them an offer. And actually storage facility owners, especially in the tertiary markets, it's all about building that connection. It's all about rapport. It's all about, they know, like, and trust you. Okay. So if you are interested in self-storage investing, you now know how to find them, right? So you can start doing that. But at the same time, while you're doing this, learn how to run commercial deal analysis. So you learn whether or not it's a good deal or not. And that's the key. Okay. All right. Any questions? Put them in the chat. Got a couple minutes until the next session. Who has some questions? How did you negotiate your first deal? How did I negotiate my first deal? Because I just made him an offer. That's what I did. I made him an offer. He accepted it. You can't get any storage facilities under contract. In fact, you cannot get anything under contract unless you make offers. That's it. There's no way for you to ever get any property unless you make an offer on that property, right? So what my suggestion is to make some offers. Who cares whether or not you get the deal or not? Just make offers and start getting more confident with making offers. The more offers that you make, the more deals you get. How many, we buy, like, our goal is to buy a storage facility a month. Guess how many offers we make? We make at least 20 offers a week on storage facilities, at least 20 offers. And in fact, we talk to probably at least 50 storage facility owners a week. I mean, we are like calling constantly, trying to talk to them, going out driving. We're going to drive for storage again here in the next couple of weeks. So, and we went out driving for storage facility right before Thanksgiving. We got 3 storage facilities under contract, right? And so now we got to get back out there and do it again. And you got to make offers, and on any deal, the only way you're ever going to get it is if you make offers. So your job is to make offers. Okay. Let's see. How do you determine the value? That's commercial deal analysis. That's commercial deal analysis. That's like a whole day of learning how to do that. I mean, it's not easy to learn how to do commercial deal analysis. This is not easy. Okay, so you have to educate yourself on, and I have a lot of free trainings. Go to my website, stacyrossetti.com, and sign up for my free trainings, right? Go to my YouTube page and sign up for the free trainings. I got so many free trainings out there on every topic that you can imagine in real estate investing, right? So not just self-storage, okay? Let's see what else. Is there such thing as a bad market for storage? Yeah, the primary market, unless you have millions of dollars. And plus you need to understand total square footage, population, and you need to understand cap rate. You need to understand this. But so, yeah, you can definitely find bad areas. I mean, I live in a town of 5,000 people and we have 20 storage facilities here. I would never, ever, ever buy a storage facility here. And whoever buys a storage facility in this 5-mile radius is ridiculous, because that's way too much competition. But if you don't understand population, total square footage, and how to run that deal analysis, then you're going to know that this is not a good area. Okay. Let's see. Can you point out to any classes on your website on commercial cap rates? There's all kinds of free trainings in there. So I would just get in there. Every single webinar I ever do talks about cap rate. Let's see what else. And we are completely vertically integrated within our business. So we manage everything ourselves. We've got people, we've got an operations manager, we got boots on the ground people. So we've got it all vertically integrated. That's how we do ours, but there are property management companies out there as well too. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, I think that's good. All right, we got it all. I think that's good. Like I said, go to stacyrossetti.com and just sign up for my free trainings if you're interested in self-storage investing, okay?